You know what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Fucking do that? Then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion to become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Coach Mike Bianca of San Diego Dynasty. And next to me on the screen is Coach Ryan Gray of Red Legion. And this is the Coach's Show, the best darn live paintball podcast in the world. On Mondays, your source for high-level insight into the sport of paintball. Tonight, we're breaking down everything about this past Friday's live broadcast 3v3 World Championship on ESPN. The top four teams in the NXL Major League Paintball faced off in a grueling one-hour battle that saw Edmonton Impact take the inaugural win. We're going to talk about the venue, the format, the strategy, and the show production, as well as engage you, our viewers and listeners, in the chat for your input and thoughts as well. So don't be silent. Get your thoughts in there. Tonight's show is brought to you by Max Sportswear, the leader in custom paintball gear. Give Max a call. I'm positive they have a package that works for you and your team. And by BKI Paintball, bringing you the best knowledge in paintball on and off the field. Check them out. Become a member today. Don't forget to sign up for the Coaches Clinic that Ryan and I will be hosting at the Major League Paintball's Lone Star Major in Garland, Texas on September 11th from 10 a.m. to noon. It will be at the Meet Me at the 50 beverage tent. We will be discussing over what we'll be talking about overall game management, how to run team meetings, how to analyze data, line calling, play calling, clock management, and a lot more. Registration is now open. I'm sure Ryan has a link somewhere here, either in the comments or somewhere down below or something like that. So Ryan, how are we doing this evening, brother?
I'm good, man. Yeah. So the sign up link for the Lone Star Coaches Show, if you are on Facebook, is up there. If you are watching us on YouTube, it's down below. Yeah, man. So this was going to be the content that we were going to cover at 2024 World Cup. We were unable to do so at that event. So we felt like this is the best place to do it. Texas is always a great event, other than the rain, of course, but we get great response every time we do a clinic in Texas. So really excited to do this one there. In fact, the day I got everything done and had created the link, before I could even get everything made, somebody signed up. So, which is awesome. So we already have actually two people who've signed up before I've even sent out the content. The sign up link. You'll start to see some marketing around that, but again, it's below or above. And then if you're listening to us on Spotify, it's in the show description.
Yeah. So, hey, it's going to be a good one. We're really going to do it. We always have such a great time doing these. So please join us. You don't have to be a coach. You can be a player. You can be someone who's just interested in this aspect of the sport. It's a good time. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So come join us and let's talk it up. Let's talk up some paintball. All right, man.
Yeah, no, I do want to add for you guys in the chat, like when we and I love that we're already seeing some comments about the 3-on-3. If you guys will throw comments about, so like we're going to discuss some topics in order. If you guys will throw some stuff in the chat about the topic, we're going to do it right then. If you say it now and then we talk about that thing that you're said later, we may not actually get back to your comment. So please, when you throw the comment in there, just make sure it's the topic that we're talking about right now.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I do want to say really quick before we jump into the ESPN thing, congratulations to Todd Adamson, Chicago Aftershock, for another ICPL 10-man professional win. His group, again, showed up, showed out, played exceptionally well. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to look at that roster. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Todd doesn't play around with recruitment.
No.
That's for sure. You know,
it was nasty.
Yeah. So it looked like they it was pretty dominant fashion too. So
incredibly
cool stuff.
Dominant.
Yeah. So Yeah, maybe we need to talk about that on the next show. We need to get back to talking some ICPL and talking some, stuff.
We need to get back to some game breakdowns. We need good film to be able to do some game breakdowns. Like, we haven't broken down a game since the second event.
That's right. That's valid point. Which actually is a good segue into one of the first things I wanted to cover real quick. And Ryan, let me know if I miss anything or you have any thoughts on it. But I've seen I want to clean up a lot of misunderstandings and rumors about this event. Mm-hmm. So one of the number one questions was, why these 4 teams? Why not who won the 3-man at the Cincinnati event, et cetera? I'm sure Tom's covered this on a couple of different shows. I'd like to just reiterate it. That is these 4 teams, before ESPN had reached out to him prior to that 3-man, and he had already had to make the commitment at that time. So he decided we'll just use whoever's the top 4 at the time prior to that event, which didn't change after Cincinnati, by the way. I think 2 teams swapped. I wonder who those 2 teams were. But that's how that was decided. So another question I saw was, why the time slot? Why would we have it on a Friday morning at 9, at 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. Central or whatever it was? Guys, ESPN called us, right? ESPN called us and they said, hey, we want to do this. So, they presented the time slot. It had nothing to do with us, but and obviously the opportunity to do this, we're going to jump at it. So we agreed to that time slot. And I think, matter of fact, it ended up being pretty nice in a way because, it was a little bit cooler at that time of day than it could have been, because it ended up being pretty hot and humid in Florida that day. So
I was there for a week. On Monday, we did drills. When we finished our drills, it was 110.
Yeah.
110. Wow. So
yeah,
it was gnarly. I just want to add to what you said, because I saw a lot of comments about I did see some stuff about the time slot, which I thought the community did a great job kind of cleaning that up.
Yep.
But the reality is, when a major network comes to you and says, hey, we want to do this thing, it's on this day at this time, you have zero power to say, oh, you know what would be best for our community is if we do it at this time. They don't care. This is the time they've allotted for you to do it, and you either accept or you don't accept, right? The other thing, and you guys should just buckle up for this. Your Major League Paintball Plus account buys you NXL specific events, which means the 5 tournaments a year that we play NXL events. Anything else they throw in there is freebies, right? Like all the interviews, the kind of mock-ups prior to the events. That's all just free content for you. What you're paying for the service is the 5 events a year. When a major network says, hey, we want you to come and do this event, there is a 0% chance that any major network is going to say, no, we're really cool with you guys simulcasting the event that we're producing and paying for. We're really cool with you guys putting that on your own platform. There are 0 companies who are going to be cool with that. So
that's right.
Just buckle up. Anytime paintball is on television, it will not be on Major League Paintball. It will not be on Major League Paintball Plus. It will not be on Major League Paintball Plus. The only way it will be on Major League Paintball Plus is if we get to a place that paintball is so big and so vast, and we have all of these different organizations wanting to buy our product, then we can be like the NFL and say, cool, we're going to have our own channel where we're going to show these things, and then you can have the rights to this thing. Just FYI, that thing that organization bought will still not be on the other thing.
That's right.
It still won't be there. So we kind of have that now, right?
That's right.
But there's a 0% chance that any time something is broadcast on a major network, it's going to be on Major League Paintball Plus.
That's right. So what Ryan is saying is ESPN has the rights to that product, and they certainly, obviously, they want their subscribers to enjoy it or to gain new subscribers, etc., for this sort of thing. And he's absolutely right. It doesn't matter if it's ESPN, ABC, CBS, it could be the Nature Channel, the Discovery Channel. They're going to have the rights to that until we get so big that we can dictate or negotiate from a position of capability. right? So a lot of people saying, that was bad negotiation, this, that, and the other. No,
There's zero negotiation.
There was zero negotiation. Right?
The negotiation is, do you want to do this or no?
Yeah, that's
you want to come or no?
I love
the
it.
Negotiation.
That's exactly right, David.
It's funny how much and again, because I can like jump in and see if people that are making comments have played tournaments, and usually they haven't, right? And then I begin to understand, okay, you probably don't consume a lot of paintball content, so you don't listen to some of the shows where they've had this exact conversation. You're probably not listening to the show either. But I'm telling you guys, so that while you're in the chats or in the threads where somebody says something like this, you can jump in and say, hey, I get it, right? It's frustrating that you can't watch it on Major League Paintball Plus. However, no network is going to say yes to that. They're just not.
They're just not. I want to put up this comment from Jason Guy. Jason Guy says, I thought the team selection was good on a skill level, and the fact that 3 countries were represented shows people this is a worldwide sport. And you're absolutely right, Jason. Great point. So appreciate that, man. Joshua, thank you. Joshua Mitchell. I thought it looked great. So amazing for the sport. I was on the edge of my seat. Yes, sir. Yeah. And I thought the boys in blue had it too, bro. So
yeah, they played great. Dynasty played, honestly, I don't want to jump too much into the format and kind of who played it well and those kind of things. Let's start with the venue, and then we'll move into we're going to get into all that stuff, Joshua, for sure. We're going to get into that because we have lots of opinions on it. Let's talk about the venue.
Yeah, look, wide world of sports. We're on a baseball field, and when I first walked into it, matter of fact, I think I'm going to drop a Z-log this Wednesday, and there's a portion there where I walk into that area, and it is wow. It's vast, right? This is a professional stadium that, and listen, we proved we can set up a field and play in a traditional stadium. That is a win. That goes in the win column right there. Now, being on a baseball diamond, I saw a lot of people say, well, why weren't we out in the grass? Because ESPN said we want you here. So that's what we did, right? I thought the venue was incredible. It looked great. Now, I personally have not seen the full production yet. So I've only seen snippets, got back. And as soon as I got back, lots of work and personal things I had to address. But I thought the venue was absolutely gorgeous. What's your take on it, Ryan?
Yeah, man, I had to take a moment during the first match. I walked up into the stands behind the field. Had to take a minute and kind of looked around, did a 360 and I apologize. I think the guy's name was James. If you're listening, I apologize again. But the guy, he walked over and said, "Hey, coach, thanks for the show." And I was just having a moment, right?
Yeah.
I was a little choked up at the time, and I just said, "Hey, give me a minute." If you have been pushing the boulder for 25, 30 years, as I feel like I've been a part of this, it was a special thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that even comes close to that venue was France a few years ago, a long time ago, 2003 or 4. We did it in a soccer stadium, right? And there were cheerleaders and it was amazing, right? But was
it Toulouse?
Was it Toulouse? Yeah. It was the only thing that was even close, right, to this. And it was close, but this was still, in my opinion, special in the way that I believe our community is significantly different at the high level. The respect that all the teams had for one another and understanding the assignment kind of that we were all given from Tom and the powers that be, hey, make it a show, please, please, please don't play long point. You guys watched, right? I saw one comment, points were too fast, and we'll get into that, right? Mm-hmm. But we understood the assignment. Right. Like everybody went, we kind of went at each other and created a very chaotic, sometimes too chaotic, but a very chaotic, fast-paced, kind of action-packed event. And it was, as I'm watching again that first match, and I'm looking down at all of the people, right, that were there, kind of that helped put this thing together. And I want to give one special shout out to Dave Painter. This is a man who's retired from his professional life and loves paintball so much that he's come in and really been kind of that missing spoke in the wheel of Major League Paintball from a communication perspective. He's a true professional, and giving up his time and doing the things that Dave has done is incredibly special. If you guys see Dave Painter, or you are connected to him online, please make sure that you drop him a line and just say thank you. That's it. Just say thank you for all the things that you do. And he is a special human being. So, but it was, for me, the venue was humbling. It was humbling. It was a neat thing to kind of, again, Casey Harris is in the chat. Thanks, Casey. Yeah, 100%. He's a very special guy. And again, Casey, watching the fit match is kind of what started that all, right? Like, considering we have this kind of young professional team, out there with two 20-year vets and a 15-year pro vet team that's out there banging heads and has earned the spot at the seat, or the spot at the table, right? They have earned the seat at the table. So it was just a really special moment. Glad I got to have it and get a moment to myself, kind of away from the chaos. Of course, it lasted about like the points did. I got about 30 seconds to do that, and then it was, locked back into the games. But I thought the venue was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. Obviously, we had to do some weird things, right, to get in, just so kind of give everybody sort of a heads up. Like, we had all of the teams had to meet the day before, so on Thursday, and turn all of our markers and tanks over to Major League Paintball for them to go to Disney and have all of it inspected. And they had to keep them until right before the match was played. And then they handed the guys their markers for them to chrono, play the match. As soon as the match was done, you had to give it back. And they had to put it back in this bin for you to then get outside and pick it up. And it was a little bit of a weird twist, but the reality is you just do what you do. You just do it, right? Like, I didn't really hear anybody complain. So it was kind of weird, but the venue was amazing.
Venue was amazing. There was two other things I wanted to add. I wanted to send, while we're, first of all, Dave Painter, excellent point. I also want to send a shout out to Jacob Edwards, Tampa Bay Damage. He showed up to support, was in the stands. Same with Jeff W. from X Factor. He was there, right? He got a flight out there by himself, flew himself out there to just be a part of it and witness. So God bless them, and thank you for that. There were so many people who did so much for this. The crowd was outstanding. And you're in a stadium and you hear that, the roar, it was really cool. I thank you for all of you who showed up and supported it live. It was fantastic. Again, venue fantastic. There was a lot. We got out there. We were the teams were allowed on premise, and I think we're given about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 15 minutes to walk the field. The first time we'd seen it, and we didn't have long to walk it. And then we were all handed layout sheets to go home and study. So those of you who are asking, hey, how was it this way and this? There's your answer. We got to see it for less than 2 hours and then game plan around that. So 28 bunkers out on the baseball diamond, right, where you had the pitcher's mound out there. That was kind of neat. So you had that lift.
You had one bunker that was about 8 inches larger than it
that's right.
Be.
That's right.
A little taller, a little puffier.
Yeah, the dirt, the grass, all of it was incredible.
Awesome.
You talk about people who take care of their stuff, and so, they take that stuff serious. So, and someone asked, how was the cleanup? No idea. But I can imagine as soon as the event was over, they were cleaning. So it was pretty amazing. And yes, Joey, we're going to get to that. So hang in there. Joey's asking about along the production. We'll get to that.
We're going to get into the show for sure. But on the fan thing, so one of the things I hope you guys understand about how cool this was, there was a young man and his dad were walking. So right behind where Major League Paintball was set up was wiffle ball.
Yeah.
And so there was a dad and his son who'd come to the venue to watch wiffle ball. And so they had to come down the steps and buy our arena to go down to wiffle ball. And they ended up sitting down and watching paintball for the whole time paintball was on, and then went down and watched wiffle ball. I kind of was walking around and thinking there were people from South America there that had flown in to see the event. Obviously lots of Florida folks, some Alabama and Tennessee, I think Georgia. Yeah.
Mhm.
Georgia.
Yep.
So South Carolina, there were a lot of folks that just showed up to be supportive. And that's just so everybody understands, that meant the world to Disney.
Yeah.
That there were people in the stands. That was a big deal. So, and those that showed up were responsible. So thank you for that.
Yes.
There was a
All of you,
moment
very.
there was a moment in the beginning with the guy with the megaphone that I was like, oh no, come on, man, act right. And he did. He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. So, but the young man and his dad, I walked over and just said, hey, thank you guys so much for coming. And they were like, yeah, we came to watch wiffle ball. And this looks so interesting. We just sat down and so we're just going to stay and watch. I was like, that's perfect.
Yes, it
perfect.
Was. So we definitely had a bigger crowd than wiffle ball. That's for sure. Not to disparage wiffle ball, but honestly, ladies and gentlemen, being there, it was electric. It was electric. You could tell there was something different, and it was pretty incredible. I've got to go ahead and say this now. I know we were going to talk about this a little bit later, but we got a 10 out of 10, right? I spoke Disney producers and ESPN producers. They loved it. They said, first of all, we were all incredibly professional. They said we were all wonderful to work with. They said everything about it went off with a hitch. I mean, that's incredible. Live paintball, like in a timed schedule, what was able to be pulled off was pretty incredible. And it should not go unnoticed that, but there was one other event that I regretted not seeing because Todd Martinez promised me they were going to compete in it, and that's the slippery stairs. But
God, did you go in and see it?
I didn't get to see it. I got to see photos and pictures from my friends who were there because remember I got there late on Thursday, right, with the flights. Arturo and I showed up late, but I heard all about the slippery stair competition. I was like, man, I wanted to watch that. So, but anyway, so venue,
Brian,
10 out of 10.
Brian PB, we are going to talk about that. And that's part of the venue. So we can touch it now.
Sure.
So Brian PB says, it was a great event. I just say, honestly, to me, we needed a better announcer. And you're talking about the announcer in the stadium, I believe, and 100,000%, you are correct. That guy was literally, there wasn't really supposed to be an announcer.
Yeah.
I found out later, like they just ended up, because of the size of the crowd, they just threw somebody out there. Totally agree that there should have been somebody else over there who was helping kind of explain what was going on to the viewers. Yeah. So totally, man. I don't think it was disrespectful. It was just like, I think it was Disney honestly trying to make it a better show.
No.
And they just didn't. You could tell the dude was Wikipediaing some like paintball words, and that's what he threw out there. So I hope that's what you're talking about, because the other commentary was absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, right. And we'll get into that. We'll talk about Maddie and Todd and Mike Jeffries and the great job they did. Everything about this was fantastic. By the way, big shout out to Uno's as well for sponsoring the event. A lot of people don't realize that. Uno's put some money into this and took care of the teams and everyone afterwards at the players' party. It was fantastic. So good.
Took care of me the day before too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I got a nice strawberry chicken salad.
Watch the Z-Log and you'll see what I ended up doing. That's saying now I'm jealous.
You were walking around running your mouth instead of getting food.
I probably should have been, but there was stuff to do. Right? Got to get the teams ready. So, all right. So venue 10 out of 10. So let's, do you want to move into, someone mentioned about the field size. We could probably talk about that as well.
Yeah. So I think jumping into format.
Yeah.
Jumping into format. Let's talk about the field size. So yeah. What are your thoughts?
Well, 28 bunkers, when I first arrived, I thought, oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. So the field was 100 by 120, right? The normal X-ball field is 120 by 150. And I thought, okay, this is good. This is really good. And when I saw the layout at first, I thought, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. And little did I know until I really walked the field just how fast it would be. So do I think my first thing, and you remember I said this, if we're going to do a 3-man type situation like this, we need to get rid of the snake beams. That was just my thought process, right? Get rid of the snake beams. Let's make it a stand-up fight. You want to speed things up, all that sort of thing. But I think in this case, it worked out. 28 bunkers. The original X-ball fields were what? I think they were only 35. So, and they looked pretty scarce back with the 15 BPAs, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I thought it was a good number of bunkers. So yeah, you know, the layout was certainly fast. You know, I saw a lot of people making comments. Maybe we overcorrected from Cincinnati. Cincinnati,
and it could have been slower.
It could have
been slower, right? I truly believe the teams understood the assignment,
right?
Like we could have gone to eat. We all know we could have all 3 teams could have gone to the Maya, the can, and the Maya, sat on the cross until we got a kill, and then matriculated down the field as usual. That was not the memo. That wasn't the memo, right? Like I thought the field was too small. I thought if it was, 10 feet wider, 5 to 10 feet wider, and at least 10 feet longer, was certainly with more bunkers and a back center would have been cool. That would have been cool.
Yeah, maybe not use the 2 big bricks in the center. Maybe
totally. They completely eliminated opportunities to shoot heads up on the run out, which I think is a fun skill.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I thought, again, from my perspective, the size of the field did kind of rob some opportunity for a little more chess, right? I did think the layout was fun, right? And it certainly created a lot of car crashes. But I think the layout, like any other layout, could have been made, like we could have played it a little slower.
We could
have played it a little slower.
But we did. We felt we were asked to give people a show and to be aggressive and to go for it. And so that's what we did. Now, you made a comment. I want to talk about that. Let's talk about that. Was the chess match missing?
You and I talked about this in the green room. I think the chess match was there for 5 seconds. It was more about which guy you were going to double up on, where do you get the kill early, and then where are you going to counter from, right? And through most of the time. It wasn't like stopping, we're going to keep going all the way through because we're wanting to create a show. So I think the chess match there's way less if this than that. No, always with 3-man, right? Because it's really shoot one guy, and now there's a lot of new open space to play.
There it is.
But because of the size of the field, that wasn't true, right? Yeah. And all the cross shots being completely blocked out by the bricks, other than Maya to Maya,
right? Corner to corner, essentially.
Yeah. It kind of it sucked a lot of what I find beautiful about paintball away, right? But again, as a paintball purist. And somebody who loves that part of what paintball is, it kind of took that away from me. But I spoke to so many people that were like family members, friends that jumped on and watched that aren't paintball people. My doctor sent me a text. He jumped on and watched it. He loved it.
Yeah,
he loved it. He thought it was amazing. He thought the tempo was great. It was very eye catching, and he's like I was in between patients. I got to watch for 15 minutes, and there was a lot. And I'm like, yeah, the points were 30 seconds, 28 seconds long, right? Like they were so fast. So somebody made a comment in the chat, and I apologize. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you guys say it early, we may not be able to go back and find it. It was almost too fast, and that I agree with that. I think it was a little too fast.
Yeah, and I'll say this for the viewers, what we were discussing in the green room prior to the show. I felt like the chess match was there. It just wasn't packaged in its normal perspective, and it was limited, right? For instance, the chess match is the field walk. The chess match is, identifying the if A's then B's. Hey, if we eliminate this, this is the move, and we need to be here to check off this. And it was very limited. To your point, the chess match started on the box. I felt the box calls were basically, which way did you think that center guy was shooting?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And then once you did get an elimination, how did you close effectively and quickly? And that's about the extent of it. So I agree with you. I think you said, you called it everything I love about, as a purist, everything I love about the game wasn't really there in its full package. I agree 100%. Yeah. It's still there, just not in what most of us are used to.
And it's not, again, it's not just the way I'm used to it. It's what I love about the game, right? It's the counter on counter, right?
Yes.
There wasn't enough time for there to ever be more than like one activity. So you shoot this guy and you're going to take this or this or this, right? And that's kind of, sorry, this, then this, then this, not even this, or it was really like one area. You're going to be in this area. And you're either going to do A or you're going to do B. Yeah,
maybe a C, but
where like the team that lost a guy could counter, right, and be in a place that maybe that's unexpected. That just, you couldn't do that, right? Because the field was so small that the guns could easily just and switch to the outside edges of the guy you didn't want to move, and you're good, right? So I think the field's a little bit longer would have been really helpful. Right. Let's talk about the break time. 30 seconds.
Yeah. So there's one thing I want to get out right now for anyone and everyone. I've already talked to the people that involved in all of this, and they all agree. Everyone agrees. The league's already agreed. Everybody I've talked to agrees. It's already been decided that if this is done again, it will not be 30 seconds between points. Bare minimum 45 seconds to a minute. That way it'll allow for maybe some replays, maybe some more commentary on what happened, maybe, a couple of different things, opportunities.
Say what the penalties are for.
Right. And that's one of my critiques. One of the things that I
don't know. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But so everyone in the chat, everyone listening right now, yes, I think everyone agrees that it might have been too fast. And that's what they meant by we overcorrected. We were slow, and so now we're way too fast to whatever. So for the casual viewer who's just now coming in, maybe they don't know exactly what's going on because it was so dynamic, so kinetic. That's true. I agree with that. So up on the screen right now, David Hay says the paintballs looked amazing. The shell and fill looked very good on camera. I think that is the plan. I think that is the plan, to be a lot more.
I've been saying yellow forever.
Neon.
Get that neon out there.
That's right.
It's such a, it makes a huge difference even if you're in the stands.
Right.
Like I'm standing behind, the field, watching from the backside, and watching the paint come out of the guns off the break was so cool. Like, I mean, it was almost like that glow ball thing, right?
Yeah.
You have all these like laser beams going through the air. It was the yellow paint. Needs to be the deal.
I agree. It looked fantastic. And the paint was awesome. There was one other comment that I'd heard someone said to me, is like, man, if I'm an 11 or 12-year-old kid and I've never played paintball before and I watch that, I'm never stepping on a paintball field. And I thought that was funny. I was like, it's funny to me because I'm sitting here thinking, why? Because running down and torching people, etc. Granted, again, we talk about the beauty of our sport and what it's really about. So we didn't get to really showcase that, but I felt like that might have drawn a couple of people in.
I think it was like a train wreck, right? Or a car crash on the highway. People are going to rubberneck it, right? Because they want to see what's happening, but they don't understand what's happened, right? They see the car crash. They know that something's happened, but they don't know what's happening, right? So I do think, so, and that there's lots of comments kind of that we're going to touch on when we get to the show part that occurred because of two reasons. One, the size of the field, and the other was, of course, because of the break time we're talking about. Because I think those are the two major factors in the tempo, right? It has been my experience as a coach when guys go onto the field and they don't have enough information, they will, especially like these guys are all stars, all of them. They're amazing at what they do. Yep. They're going to be lawless, right? They're going to be really selfish. They're going to go do lots of things kind of individually. But you really didn't have enough time to make adjustment. It's literally like, we're going to do this one thing. and then you send them kind of the next group goes out and kind of does it. So yeah, there were moments where, again, I felt like the car crashes became just that, right? Like the points became car crashes. People are just watching the car crash, but they don't really understand what's happening.
Right. And basically, if there was a way to explain, that this player's making this read based off this, if we had time to do that, that would have been fantastic. Someone made a comment about this, and a matter of fact, there's been several comments in there about it. They talk about the short attention spans of today because of these things. But
yeah, Jason guy.
I think there was someone else earlier who said it as well, but it's perfect, right? They get to see something really, really fast and move on. But I tell you blink and that's that. But I do also agree with you. There wasn't a lot of counterpunching. There wasn't a lot of, once the match started, there wasn't a lot of coaching per se. One of the things we did try to do in between with the 3 minutes we had, 3.5 minutes between our first match against you and then our second match against Impact, was talking tendencies, right? We're talking tendencies. This is what Impact did in their first match. And we think we can capitalize on this. And then of course, Impact mixed it up, and good on them. They played that second match differently, but that was something, right? Hey, he's standing in the box. He's standing on this. He's doing these different things. There's not a lot that you can do in 30 seconds. The minute you hit that buzzer, the clock started. Even while you're being checked, that clock is ticking. So, you got to get your next line out there. You got to get ready to go. Hey, look for this, and then you would have your box calls, right? Based off where you thought the guns were going to be and what their feet positioning were. And so that's the extent of the coaching, really, from that perspective.
A couple of other things about the format and event, and I want to add to the venue part, is we needed scoreboards and clocks, right? Like the only clock I had access to during our game, it was like 40 feet away from me. So like I had no idea. We like I'm like sort of, and then people would stand in front of it, right? So I'm like, get out of the way, right? And then I'm telling Max the game time and the score, and but the guys, they had no idea, right? Yeah. They had no clue. The players had no clue like what the moment was, right?
Right.
We need a clock that just like we have in the NXL, that they walk as they're walking onto the field. It's right there. The clock, the score, they see it, they understand the moment, and they can go out and handle business. And then a clock and a game, a scoreboard for the venue, right? The fans had no idea what was what the scores were, how much time was left. They had no idea. So
you're stealing most of my critiques for the end of the, but
sorry.
Yes, no. And let's talk about that real quick, because I agree. There was no scoreboard. There was no clock. There was no timer for the fans to view. I assume there was one on the production for those watching at home. I will tell you that we needed one. There was a centralized one in the pits, but like you said, it was 40 feet away. It should have been two separate ones. And not to take anything away, but in our match against Impact, it did go down, the one in the pit. So we didn't know time. We didn't know school. We didn't know a couple of different things. And that's going to happen. You're going to have those growing pains. You're going to have those glitches. And we understand that. But it does adversely affect, say, I don't know, the last point. But anyway, those sort of things, when you're having to ask for time, or you're having to ask these questions and understand this, that, and the other, it kind of draws away from, that response, right? The tactical and strategic. So, but it does. Okay, Joey. Yeah, he says that yes, the production did have all of that up on the screen, so that's good. Maybe we should have had hits or something.
I knew it was up on the show because I had people sending me photos.
Yeah. So there was a halftime during the finals. Oh, I did want to talk about that. I thought there were some really cool commercials.
Oh God, yeah.
There were some really good commercials. Now, for the record, I want to clarify something else to get rid of some of the rumors and etc. Those of you, if you watched it live on ESPN, etc., you had commercials. If you've watched it on demand on any other streaming platform that has it on demand, those commercials will not be there. So it will look like dead space. And I saw a lot of comments where they're saying, why didn't they use this time to do player profiles or interviews or all these different things? That's because it wasn't part of the original production. So those commercials that were there during the live feed. The on demand will not have those commercials. So I heard there was a great Tyler Harmon commercial. That's fantastic.
Gentleman, Mike. Was it Mike? He did one of the two new marketing guys showed it to me at Uno's. I was like, that's amazing. That's amazing. So very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, you froze up there for a minute, but we got the sentiment. You basically said it was very, very cool that you got to see that commercial. So,
oh yeah, one of the gentlemen on the one of the two new marketing guys, he showed it to me at Uno's. I
love it. The other thing I really loved that they did was this QR code that all the jerseys had it on there. I believe it was on the screen. I believe it was on some of the flyers, and you could click on the QR code. And what it was a paintball field finder. So you do the QR code and it'll pull up. If you're someone who is visiting, imagine those guys who were there to watch wiffle ball and now they're like, hey, I want to know what this is about. They can go to their local field and go play some paintball. I thought that was brilliant and a nice touch.
I think the league does a pretty good job when we have things like this to try to push people to the local paintball market. They did the same thing last year on the ESPN show. So the sad part about it is a lot of paintball field and store owners don't go put their stuff in the field finder.
Yeah. There's so many options out there right now.
They just don't do it. Like they won't go put their stuff in there. So anyway, kind of interesting, but nonetheless, let's talk about the show itself.
Yes. So I have heard nothing but rave reviews of Maddie, Todd, and Mike. I heard Mike's sideline stuff was fantastic. I heard Maddie and Todd were killing it. Now, granted, there were times where people might have wanted them to talk about what had happened on the point, and they didn't have a lot of time to talk about it before we were into the next action. But I heard that Maddie, Todd, and Mike absolutely killed it. And the few little snippets that I've seen, it sounded like they were made for it. So let us hear in the comments. But I heard they did a fantastic job.
Hang on, I'm gonna rip my dude real quick. Chris Kurtz says, "Why wasn't it aired on Major League Paintball for those that pay for it as well?" Chris,
you must be late to the show.
Yeah, you're late, pal. Go back and watch the beginning of this episode when we're done tonight, and it will explain all that to you. But I'll say it again. There is no major network that is going to allow a simulcast of any broadcast that it performs on anything that broadcast service does not own.
Yeah.
So that's why.
It's okay, Chris. He's already apologizing in the chat, so it's all right, brother. It's all good. But yeah, people should understand that when you're on a major network like that, you certainly don't have the rights to that sort of thing. So,
no,
but anyway, all good.
It's like going to a movie and live streaming it on your Facebook.
Right,
you're
pirated.
robbing them of their copyright. So.
But I heard the interviews were great. Like Mike Jeffries did some great interviews with some players. I think so. That was great. So Maddie and Todd and I don't think they could have picked a better group to do that. Now I did hear some criticism of the camera angles. I heard there was one view, right? And it was somewhat of an overhead angled view. Could there have been more camera angles? Sure. But remember now, ESPN and Disney, they're new to this. We had to go to that venue and set up our situation with netting and cranes and support beams and systems like that. So, and we only had one day to do this essentially. I think they had Wednesday to set all that up. So within one day, I mean, something has to give from a live perspective. Now, I'm not necessarily, I'm no professional on it, but I did get to see the view, and the view was gorgeous. I love that type of view because you get to see everything while it's happening. Could it have been cool if you remember the old, I think it was 07, 08 MPPL things where they had the target circles around players as they were moving? That might have been nice.
That has to be done.
That's post-production, right? But if there was some way to have a CGI graphic AI thing do that, that would have been cool. But I'm sure that's not cheap. But
I do think there could have been more cameras. But I talked to Darren a little bit after. So several of the Ghost, just so everybody kind of knows, several of the Ghost Sports people, Major League Paintball Plus folks were there trying to help the ESPN production team put things in the right places. you guys are, again, have no idea how blessed you are to have Major League Paintball Plus and Darren and what his team does at each one of the NXLs. There's like 16 cameras.
Mm-hmm.
There was not near 16 cameras at this production. I think now they've gotten a better understanding that in order to capture the real story, they need more cameras. But I also think that this was just an opportunity for car crashes, and that's really what they wanted.
Right.
That's what they wanted, right?
I mean,
they weren't trying to, somebody kind of mentioned in the chat, there wasn't enough time to do like have real player stories. And you're right. But I also don't think that was the focus.
No,
I think anytime we think about, especially me, because I am also a selfish viewer, like I watch things maybe for a different reason than Mike. And he gets something out of it that's different than me. And but I watch things very selfishly because time is really important, right? So when I don't get something I want out of it, I do get kind of frustrated. And I'm like, God, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do this? Well, then I have to go back and think about what was the point of the show? What was the point of the production? Why did they do it? Right. And so when I start to think about the why, usually that kind of clears things up. Right. Then I begin to understand, oh, that wasn't the point. Right. The point of the show was to showcase the game. Right. And that's kind of it. It was to showcase the game, not the athletes necessarily. I know there were some player interviews here and there throughout where some guys got a little bit of shine. And got some flowers, which I think is really important. But a 15-second snippet doesn't tell you a story, right? So I agree. I would love for there to be a bigger opportunity for in those timeouts, like during those timeouts, for there to be a message about kind of a player from each team and telling a little bit about their story. I think that would be way more impactful than just watching car crash after car crash.
Right. I think, but to your point, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's the story. It's the players' stories, right? It's the characters. It's the personalities that's ultimately going to drive us. I think that's what everyone wants to relate to somebody. Everybody wants to have their champion, right? They want to have their favorite players. And I think moving forward, that's the goal. You're right. The point of this was to showcase the sport and to prove that we can do a live event. And the fact that we hit all the time crunches and elements was pretty incredible. Granted, there were some things that had to be sacrificed in order to do that, right? The 30-second points, with the commercial breaks and all these different things. But we proved that we can do it. And I think this was a great starting point. The very first live paintball event on ESPN went off without a hitch. And I think there's some big pluses there. There's more checks in the win column than there are in the negative, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, for sure. And again, like they could make all of the changes that we're talking about, and there'll still be more asks, right? We'll get on the backside of that show, and we'll be doing this show, and we'll be saying, that we could have done this better. We could have done this. And I should stop saying they, because it was a we. I felt like everybody had a big hand in being helpful, right? But nothing like what Tom and his team did. I mean, those guys somebody asked, how was the players' party? I can tell you the players' party was fine. It wasn't really a party. It was more of just a gathering, and we all kind of chit-chatted and talked with one another and talked to some of the fans that came over and showed up. And but Tom, Dave, Kevin Fillers, Darren and his team, Maddie, Todd, Mike Jeffrey, everybody was worn out. I mean, those guys were whipped. Yeah. So the amount of work that they did, Jason Trozen, shout out to Jason and his group. I know Fatty and his guys were there for several days, or for one really long day, kind of setting up and tearing down, and then also coming back and doing all the cleanup. The amount of effort that went into this for Major League Paintball, and again, for the product to be what it was terribly impressive.
Derek and Mike, the producers, those guys were
Derek.
They were running around like chickens with their heads cut off, and with great composure. I mean, to see the behind the scenes and what all went into that, ladies and gentlemen, it's a feat. It's pretty.
I just want to ask, from a show perspective, like, what did you guys think of the team of Maddie and Todd. Like, I have my own feeling about it, but what did you guys think of Maddie and Todd?
Yeah, get in there. But got another comment about the cameras. They cut a few times to a replay from a camera to the ground, and when they did that, it looked really cool. More time in between points. Well, yes. For those who are just joining us, it's already been decided that the 30 seconds was too fast, and that they'll be addressing that in any type of future aspect. So, Maddie is good when he's. Oh,
who's
boy.
corrects him?
There's a story there.
Okay. Yeah,
but yeah. So, but perfection. They work so well together. Love it. So, I think for a first for a pilot, I think there was a lot of things that went down really, really well. But yeah, so there you go. Still think Dynasty should have won, but that's just me.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Well, no, we didn't.
Yeah, I think Red Legion should have won, but we didn't either.
But they didn't. So yeah.
Right. So Paintball Fit thinks they should have won, but they didn't either.
but they didn't. So,
right. And Impact did, and they played great. I got to add this, dude. Yeah. Tyler Harmon was an animal.
Yes.
Tyler was an animal.
Yeah. He was a monster on the field for sure, 100%. And he's one of those personalities, right? He's one of those personalities that would be great for the camera as well. So, I think that's that's ultimately what's going to put paintball, into the norm. Alex Frazier pitched a beautiful idea, and I'm not going to talk about it here, but I was there for it. And he pitched this beautiful idea for a paintball show, and I was listening to it, and I would never turn it off. That's all I'd watch. If that comes to fruition, I want you and I involved in it somehow, just to be flies on a wall.
He's got enough money to do it.
I think what he's doing is he's pitching it so that it would have a significant production value. I think a major network would be foolish not to pick it up. I think it would be awesome. It would be exciting. It'd be fun. It'd be hysterical. And boy, would it, I really feel like it could grow the sport significantly. So, yeah, I'll talk to you about it in the green room, but Alex Frazier, man, show business, baby. That dude was made for show business. 100%.
Mike does this, guy. I just want to mention, Mike does this to you guys every week. Like, he throws these things out there and then says, well, I can't talk about it here, but he's essentially like talking about it. And then he backs out of it. So again, you guys get him. Like, make sure you let him know how uncool that is.
That was not a rumor. That actually happened. I was there. Saw it. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Gabe, I want to bring this up because, yeah, man, I love Manny and Todd, but they weren't ready for this pace. It's undeniable. They know if they didn't have any dry runs, but they should have. My thoughts, right guys, but need practice. Do not replace them. Yeah. So I want to be clear too about the pace, just so everybody kind of has an understanding. We knew what the time was, and we all kind of found out, like, it was finalized on Wednesday. Yeah. So Wednesday before the Friday event is actually when the production schedule was sent out, and it changed 3 times before the event. From Wednesday to then, we didn't really, like, the idea was it was going to be 30 seconds, but they were still playing with it. Like, they basically said, hey, we don't really know until Wednesday, right? So we all got on this Zoom call, and that's really when we found out, hey, it's really going to be 30 seconds. 30 seconds sounds like a long time. It is 0 time. So it's not just like we were every team in their first match struggled with that, right? Like every team. It wasn't it was fast, way too fast.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. Nobody was ready for the pace. I have to share this story because Junior and I had made an agreement. I was like, hey, I'll scout Impact, you scout, Paintball Fit. We'll do our scouting stuff. We'll bring it together for whoever we play. And, and I remember
should have said you stay down there and I'll stay down here.
we should have, because no joke, we were running past each other like every 20 seconds. Yeah. And I remember after the 3rd point, I ran past him. I was like, no time for blah, 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 blah. He's like, what? And we were literally having conversations as we kept passing each other. And it was hysterical. So I got my steps in that day. That's for sure.
Yeah. Critique it. Let's go.
All right. Critique it, people. So me personally, again, I believe there were a lot more positives than negatives. I think we all agree that pace, right? We agree about the strategy aspect, the things we love about the game. We all agree that we love more character development. Again, though, big win. We pulled off a live event in a stadium setting on ESPN. And to me, that the moon to the moon now, right? It's what we do next that's going to be really important. And hopefully those numbers look really, really good to ESPN. There's rumor there's another major network interested, wanting to get in on the ground level. So we'll see. It's up to you guys, the listeners, the viewers, the lovers, the players, everybody that loves this sport. We've got to have a positive perspective to this. Yes, we can be critical. Yes, we can say, hey, this would be a great idea. Hey, wouldn't it be great if? That's wonderful. But again, the message is be positive, show these networks and these companies that paintball can be an exciting, amazing thing. Be positive. Be positive. Don't get in there and troll and start dragging your sport down, because you're not helping anybody when you do that. That's my public service announcement.
Yeah. Yeah. Verbal just says, I hated it. That's it. I hated it.
But that's because you're like me, you're a perfectionist, right? And you're so good at your craft, so that when you see something that falls within that, genre, you're going to be critical. I get it. I respect that 100%.
Yeah. So somebody mentioned, and again, I apologize, things are moving too quickly there, but Michael F. They should have made the rule not to switch sides after the point. So the problem is when you have Doritos on one side, Snake on another, you want guys to be able to switch left and right handed.
Right.
Because I kind of brought up the same thing. Why did we put a snake in it? Why did you don't put a snake in it? Just put Doritos down both sides and make the middle the same, and then we never have to switch sides, and we're always on the same side, right? Yep. But the good side of that, though, by the way, is the guy who hit the buzzer, you could run two guys out with pods, give him pods, and that guy could play again, right? So because you're already on the side that you need to be on. So there's some positives and negatives to that, but the reality is 30 seconds was just way too fast.
Right.
In fact, the whole thing was way too fast. The points were too fast. There couldn't be enough dialogue with the commentators to really explain what was happening on the field. There wasn't enough time between the points to really talk about the penalties, who got the penalty, what was the penalty for, which I think is important for the viewers. And again, at 45 seconds in break time, I don't really think the viewers even feel that. Right? The difference between 30 and 45 to the viewer, I don't think is enough to really make a difference. But to us in the pits, it makes a massive difference. It's a lot.
100%. Something else, right? Basically we come off the field and then we have 3.5 minutes before we play our next match.
Oh, Brett's in here.
Oh, look, there's Brett.
Yeah,
excellent.
Brett's in here.
Awesome.
We have a lot of limitations while dealing with the ESPN crew. Overall, it wasn't exactly what we wanted. Plus we only had an hour. The team showed. Thank you.
Yeah. Blank.
Mike gets mad at me when Mike gets mad at me, Brett, when I cuss. So
not only that, we were told before, hey, no cussing, and Dynasty set up a curse jar the night before to train us. So
we did, and I cussed.
Someone did
only once.
This is what it's going to be on the Z log. Even I was told, hey, remember, no cursing. I'm like, you're talking to the wrong guy. It's not me. It wasn't me.
I've seen you when you get heated.
All right, stop it. Shush.
Mm-hmm.
But no, on a serious note, it's there again. Yeah, limitations, but a great step forward.
Yeah, Michael F. says, Tom said something on PTG about debuting something new to limit bounce shots, bounces and bounce shots. I think you're just talking about bounce shot. It's not going to eliminate bounces on the players, but bounce shots. Mm-hmm. Yes, there is something, and we're not allowed. I know what it is, but I'm not allowed to say yet. There is something that's coming that's going to help with bounce shots. Yes.
Right. I had heard that was going to be debuted here. I don't think it did. I don't think it got implemented. I could be wrong. So, but yes, there is something in the works that will eliminate. It's not the bounce shot per se. It's paintballs coming off a bunker and going over the net. That's what they're trying to get rid of. And no, I don't believe it's a top netting. There's some other thing that Tom was.
Yeah, as a byproduct of what they're doing, it's also going to help to eliminate bounce shots.
Right.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
I hate bounce shots.
I think everyone does, but if you're not playing them or planning for them, do so at your own risk.
No, I love when they work for us.
Oh, right. See, there it is. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
So, matter of fact, there was.
I
even heard Fit talking about bounce shots prior to the match.
Well, there were a few.
There were a few. Yep.
There were a few.
We used one of them specifically.
Yes. So thoughts on limited paint. So Brett asked thoughts on limited paint. Almost every player we talked to said they didn't fill one pod while playing.
Yeah. Okay.
Because somebody else was filling them.
Because someone. Yeah, I was going to say. So there's technically, I understand the question, but also all of the pods were pre-filled for the teams before we got there. They were waiting in the pit in coolers for us, just like our guns and tanks. So.
But he knows that.
So, but here's the thing. When we saw how fast that first match went, we literally from a strategy, we're like, roll your guns. You're never going to make it through your second pod. The way this is going, roll your gun nonstop on the trigger, go. So, was the 2 pods limiting and I've always had this belief, and right, wrong, or indifferent, you can correct me or you could agree or disagree. But even when you have limited paint in Europe with 4 pods, there's still going to be long, slow points. It's going to happen, because what can happen is if you're trying to execute something and you don't make it happen within those first 2 to 3 pods, guess what happens? I'm down to my last pod. I have to be cautious now. And you've got, it's both ways. So do I think limited paint speeds the game up? In some instances. Do I think it's the wave of the future? Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think I think the 2 pods was perfect for the format we played. It was great. None of my guys came off, saying I'm completely out of paint, so.
It takes 28 seconds to shoot a full hopper and a pod, and
points were averaging 28 seconds.
28 seconds. So
that's right.
I'm a proponent of limiting paint. I think the pros should have no more than 4 pods, but that's I love the European style of play. I think that I don't see any downside to limiting the paint. None of it. Gerald Garcia said, I didn't like it. 3-man is the fastest, boring game to watch. We have to ask ourselves, are we that desperate to get on TV that we're willing to sacrifice what we love to, why we love to play paintball? Yeah, I think we are kind of in the interim, right? Like, we're doing things that we have to do to kind of get our foot in the door to be able to sell the game we want to sell. But I think in the beginning, kind of where we are now, we've got more probably exposure and opportunity to the reality of television than we've ever had, and not just television, but streaming opportunity. So I think so. I think that we are kind of in a place where we're willing to sell our souls a bit to get to the product we want to get to.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, I don't necessarily agree that 3-man, whereas it may be faster. Yes, I agree there. Boring? Here's the thing. I think with the right layout, the right format, the right rules, timing, all these things, we can bring what we love about 5-man to 3-man. Do I think it's the answer? I don't know. I think there's a lot of strategy and capabilities in 3-man if you have time to dictate them. I just don't, and when you think about it, right, if you're really trying to get character development and players out there, having a 12-man roster may not be the way to go, but you'd have 4 lines. That'd be really convenient in this case. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer, Gerald. I don't, but I think Ryan's right. I think we're going to have to take a couple of hits first before we get what we really want. And I think that's a worthy sacrifice if the end game and the end result is what we want. So
yeah, this verb. That's exactly what I was saying earlier. It's exactly what I was saying. The big field at Ohio, like I found that 3-man game to be incredibly entertaining.
Yeah.
It was technical because the guys knew the layout. They understood the space that they could play if they eliminated someone, or even if it was 3-on-3.
Yeah.
You still saw a lot of creative moves. Like I thought the Ohio 3-man was so much more fun than this one. Yeah.
I got to answer this question.
We had the space we had to work with. And I think Jason and his crew did a great job kind of setting up what they thought would work.
Yeah. I got to answer. Gerald Garcia asked, Mike, when you were a player, how many times did you say, I can't wait to play this 3-man tournament? All the time, because I was getting to play paintball and I was getting to hang out with my friend. I was getting out to be with my community and I was playing paintball. And so, and I'm not saying that to be difficult, Gerald. That's an honest to God answer because I love the game in all formats. Right. Again, I don't have the answer. Do I think that's, is it the best for the, no, I love 5-man. I do. Absolutely. But to answer your question, yeah, I always look forward to playing paintball with his 3-man, 5-man, 7-man, 10-man. I like paintball. So, but I hope that answers your question, Gerald.
Yeah, Joshua, that's a great point. Joshua Mitchell says, I still think it's going to come down to a doc show like Drive to Survive. Absolutely. Totally agree with you. Not very many people watch the cars go around the oval until the show showed. Yeah, so like I'm a fan of players, right? I watch, and I kind of mentioned this to Brett, and I know a lot of people like me. I'm a fan of players. I will watch games to watch players as a byproduct of the fact that I like the player. I then somehow end up liking the team, and I learn about other players on the team. So totally agree. I believe that we have to sell the personalities that we have in this sport, and we have a lot of great ones. There's some awesome human beings involved in this thing. Agreed. And I think we have to get those stories out. And I do believe that people will begin to give a shit about who we are and what we do. For the time being, again, is this thing that we just did on ESPN, is it the end all? Absolutely not.
No,
it's not the thing that is going to launch us into the stratosphere. Was it worthwhile? Yes.
Yeah.
Will it be
100%.
helpful? You bet.
Yeah. I wanted to address this. Mr. G says the right layout is Top Gun for live TV. 1v1 cuts expense, and Oliver's duel is reaching out all over the globe. Mr. G, why not have it all? Why not have 1v1 on TV? Why not have 3v3 on TV? Why not have 5-man X-ball on TV? Right? Why not have it all? Eventually that's the goal. Let's get all these formats, right? Maybe scenario ball on there. You could tell some incredible stories in post-production with scenario ball. That would be exciting. It'd be pretty cool. And to Ryan's point, I think the characters are going to drive it, right? The personalities and the athletes are going to drive it. So I hope.
Yeah, Bobby, that's a great question. Bobby says, do all the other activities on that day have podcasts and following? Is there a YouTube show breaking down blimp racing and wiffle ball? Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to bet yes. I mean, there's so much content on YouTube. It's ridiculous. I forget what the math is, but every second, how much content is going up on YouTube. It's pretty impressive. I would be willing to bet, yeah, especially with wiffle ball. There's a lot going on there. Going on there.
Oh, did you know if you get hit with a wiffle ball, you don't take your base? I found that out.
Really?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
But I don't know because I spend way too much of my time doing paintball to do anything else.
Same. I love it. See. Oh, you beat me to it.
Yeah.
Gabe, I have a question for you guys. Does a standard layout that doesn't change become an option? I love the chess game of different layouts, but in my opinion, it has to be considered. I mean, no. You had that. You had that for a while with Hyperball, right? But
yeah, no.
I don't think that's the way to go because now you've just created automatons on how to play a layout. These are the keys of the field. You do this every time, that sort of thing. So I think it does have to continue to change. I think that's the challenge. That's the strategy. That's the tactics. That's some of the beauty of our game. So yeah, I love that fact.
This is the deal right there.
Adam Lovejoy. I thought it was great. My son brought a friend. He's hooked now. I talked to a few people who were there for other events. They thought it was really cool. Thank you for sharing that, Adam. We greatly appreciate it. That's the type of feedback we're looking for. The league's looking for, ESPN and Disney's looking for. Those are the types of things we need to do. Yes. Can there be improvements? I'll say it again for the 100th time. Yes, absolutely. Is this the final product? Probably not. But was it a positive step in the right direction? Yes. That's a great story. I'm glad that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that makes me smile. All right. Looks like we worked through them.
I think we have. We've covered all our topics. Any final things that anyone wants to throw out in the chat real quick before we start wrapping things up? We're going to get you to bed early tonight, Ryan.
I started back to the gym. Just so everybody knows, I've only been to the gym 5 times in the last 8 weeks, and that's not who I am as a human. I started back to the gym this morning, and we did for people who gym, you'll understand how brutal this was. We did deadlifts, toes to bar, and thrusters. If that tells you how I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. Wow. Hear it all, man. Everyone's firing in. By the way, that's a great point, Andrew. Andrew Ormsby says, now that it's on Disney Plus, it's so much easier to share with family and friends. Do it. And if they're asking questions while you're there, answer them, right? You know, hey, this isn't our normal format, but this is a step in the right. So talk to them about it, get it going, you know, and we'll go from there. Hanson. First of all, it's only 2 buttons, Hanson. Second of all, stop clicking your poker chips, pen, whatever. Ryan, I know Bianca's deep. It's distracting, but come on. All right. Your biceps are lying, Ryan. Thought someone wanted to share that with you. It's funny because when we went to Uno's and I had pizza and beer, I had to clean my diet up, and I started to work out today as well. So that's why I look so disheveled.
Joey, that's unacceptable. Sorry. I'll try to do better. Yeah, Verbal. Verbal says, what if somebody absolutely loved it and said they want to try it? I don't think anywhere offers that crazy format. I made that exact comment to Tom, like, hey, this is not this is not something that people can just go do. I think on the bright side too is, would we really want first-time players playing a format like that? I think the answer is no. I still don't think that the way we do tournament paintball is really a driver necessarily to get people to want to play that format as much as it is to just get people interested in paintball.
I think you're spot on. Yeah. And that's a great point, Verbal. Good stuff. Got some intelligent people in our chat. The smartest chat people in Monday night paintball podcasts. So good stuff. All right. Well, I've got everything from my notes.
Yeah.
If we didn't cover something, you know, hit us up after the show, and you know where to find us on Facebook and Instagram. So hit us up. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah. And I do think it's kind of an open book right now with Tom and the Major League Paintball crew. I do think they want feedback. I think they want good feedback.
Yes.
Bobby Kramer. We've already talked. The 30 seconds between points was so frustrating. Agreed. Yeah, and everybody kind of agrees that was just way too much, way too fast, and the points were too fast. It was just the whole thing was just a little too fast. We overcorrected, as Mike has stated, and we did. Right, we needed to slow down a little bit. We need more opportunity to tell stories and.
What's R2D2 doing back there?
My swamp cooler is.
Hey, by the way, everyone in the chat, thank you for those kind comments. Really, your support means the world to Ryan and I. We greatly appreciate it. Hey, listen, go support all the paintball content that's out there, right? This show, you know, and everybody else who's got a show out there. Go support people like Verbal and Shelda and everybody else who's doing incredible things for the sport, right? Who's putting up, showing how just beautiful our sport is. Any and everything we can do to try and help grow the sport, whether it's through this or through this show or other shows, or, you know, just talking to friends and family and pulling it up on Disney Plus or ESPN or whatever. So I just love it. So thank you to everybody that was live in the comments tonight. You guys are greatly appreciated, and we appreciate you all. And thank you. Thank you very much. Including paintball events, news, interviews, and stories, Jason. So yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Okay. For those who are interested, again, we kind of opened the show with this. We'll close with it the same way. If you are interested in doing the Texas Clinic, I got to sign up during the show. So I assume Matt is in here. Thank you for signing up. If you're interested and you're on Facebook, above is the link to sign up for the Texas Coaches Clinic. Below, if you are on YouTube, if you're listening to us on Spotify or any of our other podcast channels, it's going to be in the description of the show. So make sure to click there, get signed up. It's going to be a really good one. We've got a lot of great content. And again, we've been working on it for a long time. This is one we were going to do last year at World Cup. So there's a lot of information there. In fact, 2 hours is going to be, it's going to be tight. Yeah, it's going to be tight. So yeah, thank you for listening from Norway. We really appreciate you. Thank you to Major League Paintball, Major League Paintball Plus, Tom Cole, Kevin Fillers, Alex Sorensen, Darren Cessna, Brett and Mike now, big part of the new marketing team and strategy.
Real
when
quick.
is the latest we can sign up? The latest you can sign up, if you want to book, is the Tuesday before the layout comes out. If you want me to make you a book, if you don't want to book, then you can sign up literally the day before.
Yeah.
So sorry, the Monday before. But if you want to book, you need to sign up by at least the Tuesday before the layout comes up, because I fly home from Paris on Monday. Tuesday, I'll make all the books, and then I leave to go to Texas on Wednesday with Red Legion to prepare for the event.
Goodness gracious, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun couple of weeks coming up. So,
can you say jet lag?
Man, on the way home, I'm good.
Okay.
Way there, I got a problem. Way home, I'm fine.
Roger that. Roger that.
Thank you to Max Sportswear at BKI for the support. For Mike Bianca, I'm Ryan Gray. As always, be responsible.